So there's the lineup for the final of the women's pairs. The world champions, two from the top of the picture, the two crews who qualified directly into the final in lanes 3 and 4. So really fascinating contest here. The Romanians also will want something to show to the others here, Hugh, because they were very upset last year at losing their world title. And of course, Georgieta Andrunaci with Doina Ignat, who's now in the back in the Romanian 8, were Olympic champions in Sydney. And the Romanians are two from the bottom of your picture.
The world champions from 01 and 02, the Romanians, and from 03, the Brits, are split by the two crews that won in the heats, Canada and Belarus. And those four crews are seriously of the same sort of speed. And I think the ones that most fascinate me are Darcy Marquardt and Karen Clark, because when they first appeared, they were beaten in Munich by the British pair, but they had just got off the plane. They had various, they'd just been really formed as a partnership because Marquardt came out of the 4 last year, and they were finding their feet. They looked very strong in the heat and very impressive there, and they've got something to prove on their way to Athens. It could be a fascinating race.
But traditionally, the Belarus duo, Yulia Bishik and Natalia Helak, fast starters, and they have got the fast start, and they are two from the bottom of your picture. Closest to you in the red hats are the Romanians. They're in lane number 5. And then Darcy Marquardt, who's come in for Jackie Cook, who was in the boat that finished 4th with Karen Clark a year ago, as we come to the end of the first quarter. And the British just about in 3rd place there, I'd say, going through at the end of the first 500 metres. But confirmation of that in a moment.
Having talked up the Canadians, they actually slipped a bit there, and I think they crossed, although we're looking at a result sheet which suggested they were 3rd at 500 metres, I think they might even have been 4th. We seem at the moment to have Belarus looking very strong, leading, with Romania trailing them and stalking them, and I'm quite sure the Romanians, as they lengthen out and the course goes on, will prove very tough indeed, with Great Britain in 3rd place over on lane 2, and the Canadians have slipped back out of that middle pack and are definitely in 4th or even in 5th behind Germany.
I'm quite encouraged by the British pair, Cath Bishop and Katherine Grainger, because what they're doing is they're making sure that they keep themselves in their race. There's a great danger here with the Belarus, who we know are really tough, and we'll see this right out, that they get too far detached, and they're certainly not allowing that to happen. And all credit to Germany as well. On the far side in lane 1, in the pink boat there, Maren Derlian and Sandra Goldbach at the moment doing a pretty good job. They're only about half a length down, and the big surprise at the moment are the Canadians, which you already emphasised here.
They're back in 5th. The Derlian and Goldbach from Germany did extremely well in Poznan for 3/4 of the race, well into the last 500. They were looking, I think they led it as far as I remember, and then they faded in that part. So they're good, fast crew, and the issue is how well they've been able to extend their race right the way down through the whole 2000. They're looking quite nice at the moment. I'm slightly worried by the way that the Romanians, in pulling through Belarus, are pulling Belarus clear from the other side of the field, where Germany and Great Britain are roughly level and battling it out in 3rd and 4th place. That's right.
Yeah, coming to the half distance now. Romania just about taking the lead from Belarus, and then there's a bit of clear water there back to Great Britain. Canada beginning to close, and Germany up there, and it's really a race of two halves at the moment. The gold medalists, of course, last year, Great Britain. The silver medalists were Belarus. The bronze medalists were Romania, but at the moment it's reverse order to that, with Romania, who have Georgieta Damian, one of the greats, 28 years of age, from Bucharest, and Olympic champion, of course, not only in the pair in Sydney, but also in the 8, where she doubled up, and 3 times a world champion in the 8 before that, with the Romanians, who were dominant in the women's 8s between Atlanta and Sydney. And Belarus, at the moment, they seem to have really planned their season in a very special way. Remember, they didn't get involved in the first 2 World Cup regattas. Bishik and Helak, they actually went into the Belarus 8, and this is the first time we've really seen them in competition as a pair again.
They've obviously been playing a bit of a game, being sheltered from the competition in the pair, perhaps not showing their hand, while training flat out in the 8 and getting the work in there. But these two crews have pulled out. It's interesting, as soon as Andrunaci and Susanu reach out and stretch almost like the Australian men's pair does, and row longer than the other crews. They just pull through them. They're not big, heavy cross-section athletes. They're long and lean, and they row a long, lean stroke, which is very hard to keep up with. And I suspect that this lead of about 5 or 6 feet will probably extend in the last 500 meters.
Well, the Romanians put in a 1:46 for the second quarter, and that's what's put them into the position. But as I said, the Belarus duo, they are tough as old boots, those two, and they will not give in. What does concern me is the gap back to the rest, and I think the two Caths, I think they'll be really worried in the British camp when they see this performance, because it's one thing to be third, but the distance is really concerning.
It's massive, and the two leading crews are just pushing each other further out. In fact, it's Belarus, as you say, tough as old boots, and they're coming back on the Romanians, and those two crews are stretching the lead by a long margin over the rest of them, with Great Britain just leading a group of Germany and Canada.
Very interesting. I mean, the Germans, well, actually, some of the times we're getting in, Hugh, I have to actually dispute, so I'm not going to actually. Here are the world champions. Assessment, Hugh.
They're rowing nicely, but they're just short. They're not as long and reachy as this Romanian crew in the foreground now. The ones that we're looking at there, they're now stretching their lead again. The Belarus came back at them, and that's the game you've got to play. You've got to reach right out and put the blade in where you reach.
It's a beautiful rhythm from the Romanians, absolutely wonderful. And the Belarus, a lot of power there, but it's just that little bit staccato, isn't it, compared to the Romanians. The Romanians really smooth. This is beautiful to watch, really stretching now.
It comes from the mileage. They do massive mileage. They don't do much weight training compared to some of the other crews. They just do miles and miles and miles of rowing together, and obviously with a close eye on the style, the technique, the way they do it. And it comes so easily when they come down to 2,000 meters from the huge mileages that they do.
So it is the Romanians as we go past these regatta enclosures here in Lucerne, and they're pulling it out as they pass our commentary box. It's about half a length to Romania, ahead of Belarus, and then the Canadians coming back to give Great Britain a fight for third place, but the British might just hang on for third. But it's not been a good morning for the world champions. They get third ahead of Canada. Two disappointed crews there. Then the pink boat of Germany coming across the line, and the Russians, well, they will finish in 6th place. And not to be too unkind, they've been outclassed. Well, what have we learnt for Athens?
The 2 months to go, there will be a lot of change in that time. All the crews come here have been training very hard right up to the middle of the week.